Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today I'm reviewing Hey That's My Fish from Next Move Games. Hey That's My Fish is a 2 to 4 player abstract strategy game that Next Move is now reprinting. This game has been in a variety of versions or whatever, from Fantasy Flight to maybe just Fantasy Flight, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I think Mayday or Mayfair may have had it once upon a time. It's been around for quite some time. Now I'm going to be doing something slightly different in my review compared to my usual things, which I'm going to be trying to focus on just an overview and not really a full rules teach. So I'm going to spend like maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes teaching the game, and then go into my review. If that's something that you're more interested in these reviews, something I'm going to be experimenting with in some videos here and there. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into this. Hey That's My Fish is a 2 to 4 player abstract game. The general idea of the game is you're going to be operating these various penguins on the board, and on your turn you get to move a penguin as far as you want in a straight line until it's either hits a gap in the ice where it can't move past, or alternatively until it hits a penguin where it can't move past. The goal of the game is once you move, you're going to eat the fish you're on, so I'll eat this, taking that, they'll move here, they'll eat that, taking that, I'll pop over here, I'll eat that, taking that, and the goal is you're getting the points for the fish on the board, but the real goal of Hey That's My Fish is the idea that as you move your penguins around the board, you are slowly creating blockages. You're trying to lock off your opponents from where and how they can access the board. So yes, it's partially about gathering the tiles that have the most fish, but it's far more about finding opportunities to slowly cut off other penguins from civilization so that this little penguin over here can only go over here, at which point you go here, and he's trapped on his own little island, and now you have a little bit more freedom in the game. So, tactical abstract game, which you're trying to get fish that are worth points, but ultimately you're trying to control the board better than your opponent. That is how you play Hey That's My Fish. To that end, let's go ahead and talk about my opinions, my thoughts, all of that stuff. This is a 2 to 4 player game. The ease of play on this is, well, really easy rules as far as you can see. I mean, in general, I was giving you an overview, but it's 98% a full rules teach in this game. The downside is you have to set up these tiles every single time, so that's going to cut into the accessibility of the game. It's a big thing worth mentioning. Sometimes a game of the Hey That's My Fish might take 3 minutes or 4 minutes to set up, and then like 6 minutes to play, so that ratio is not great, and it's the exact same ratio to continue setting it up. It's not like you already have it out. You still have to set up those tiles every single time. So, ease of play, learning great. Setup versus game time, not so great. As far as what I like, don't like, and can see others not liking, starting off with what I like, which is just how brutally mean this game is. This is an abstract strategy game. The whole goal of the game, though, is not about getting those 3-point tiles over here. The tiles come in 1, 2, and 3 fish. You're trying to get those 3-pointers, but really the 3-pointers are almost a secondary goal. The main and primary goal should be control of the board, with a caveat. We'll get into the caveat and the things I don't like section. We'll talk about that soon. But this is a game about controlling the board. It's a game about finding those sight lines, finding ways to slowly move so that you can block off your opponents. So they go here, they take that, we take this, I pop over here, maybe I can slowly block them here. He sees that happening, he moves over here, I see that happening, how can I block that? I can't block that, I'm cut off over here, my own little island, I'm going to die over here, we move here. You're slowly trying to adjust the board. I think I put that on the wrong tile, but that's neither here nor there. You're trying to control the board, trying to set up so that you have more of the board, because at any given point, if you control a full section, so for example over here, I take that, I go here, which is illegal, I'm going 2 in a row, but if that were to happen right now, this whole section would be controlled by me, at least assuming I can show that I can move around the board piecemeal to get everything, but once you have a full section where no one else can get access to, it's yours. And so sure, those 3 fish tiles are tempting, but it's really about control, and it's about making your opponent feel constricted on little ice flows where they can't get a lot done. So it's a tactical game that has a very simple rule set, just enough variability in the fish tiles to give you some interesting adjustments to decisions, because if you just had all 1 fish tiles, it would be the same game of chess every single time. Having these slight variances means that sometimes there are a little bit more decisions. Sometimes that 3 fish tile is better than the 1 fish. So yes, board control is everything, but getting, 7 tiles that are worth 1 fish each versus getting 2 tiles that are worth 3 fish, well, you still take the 7. That was a bad example, but you get my point over here. The tiles give you some additional variability, but ultimately this is a cutthroat, head-to-head strategy game, which brings me directly to the thing I don't like about Hey That's My Fish, which is I only appreciate this game as a 2-player experience. Now, don't get me wrong, for the sake of learning the game, or for the sake of just a fun little good time where there's low stakes, playing it at 3 and 4 players is not a bad game, but to me, it's not where I want to play Hey That's My Fish. At 3 and 4 players, Hey That's My Fish is more about getting those fish tiles. It is about, feeling cut off by somebody else, even though I was playing a good game, but those players conspired against me. There's a lot less agency, and it feels like it just feels crazy. I mean, imagine playing 4-player chess, and yes, I know 4-player chess is a thing, but it's not a very common thing, and for a good reason. To me, Hey, That's My Fish shines as a 2-player experience, not a 3-player experience, not a 4-player experience, doesn't even have a solo mode, still no solo mode, just checking if the new edition had one. But so, to me, this is a 2-player game, and a 2-player game only. If you're looking for an easy breezy 3 to 4 player experience, there are better other games out there. As far as I can see others not liking, oh, and then the other thing I don't like is the setup time. Going back to the ease of play aspect, the setup time of this game is not good. And it's not the end of the world. It gives you a good, mean, punchy, satisfying experience, but playing a 6-minute game that took you 4 minutes to set up is just not a great ratio, and that definitely is a strike against this. This new board that comes in this version of the game does help a little bit. It means you're not constantly fidgeting with tiles where you push one and the entire grid shifts, but it still has you setting down all the tiles. It's a marginal improvement, not a major one, and frankly, the new board is not the easiest thing to put together. They have this whole like interweaving thing. I get it, I appreciate it, not the easiest board I've put together. But past that, as far as what I can see others not liking, going directly to what I like, but it might be an issue for you, this game is mean as anything. If you're looking for a light, fun, breezy game, and the box is deceptively light, fun, and breezy, this is not that experience. This is a mean game. This is an in-your-face game. This is a try to strand your opponent's penguins on the ice kind of game. So, I mean, at least if you're playing at 2. Honestly, playing it at 3 and 4 is also mean. It just feels less fair. It feels unfairly mean as opposed to a battle of wits between players. So if you like seeing your penguins stranded off the side with having very few fish and a unsatisfying end to the game in which you see your opponent walking away with 78 fish and you have 22, sometimes that happens in this game. Because of the fact that it's about trying to outmaneuver your opponent, no differently than chess or no differently than many abstracts, don't think of the score as a actual ratio of how well you did. There are times in this game where somebody has a giant amount of points and you have very few because they found that lever. They found that point where they can outmaneuver you and got half the island as a result, or half the ice flows as a result. As far as differences between this and the originals, because this is a new edition, there are some differences, some quality of life improvements. First of all, the penguins. I like the penguins a lot. I wish they came in different sculpts. Maybe that's asking too much, but I wish each team had its own little sculpts of penguins just for fun. I want to resonate. I want to identify with Charlie. When he drops into the ice, I want to feel that pain. But right now I don't, because Charlie's got 3 twins, three siblings. And they're a set of quadruplets, and they're all identical. So, yeah, but either way, I wish the penguin sculpts were a bit different, but they are nicer in general. Past that, I do like this tray. Yes, I'm going to complain about it a bit. The way it fits together, again, is a little annoying, but it still is an improvement over the original, just putting tiles down on the board. The size of the tile, this is where you start going to, depends on which version you had, but depending on which version you had, I liked the small travel size Fantasy Flight box that Hey That's My Fish had back in the day. It was great for travel, great for portability. You can literally just take the bag out and whatever. This is going to be bigger than that, and so you can still make it more portable by just taking the tiles and the penguins, but it's not going to it's not going to beat that level of portability. I think overall, oh, and the thing I love about this the most is while the board makes setup a little easier, the main area where it's helpful is in the original Hey That's My Fish, trying to remove a tile was a pain, but the way this board's set up, you just push a tile and pull it off. Removing a tile after you ate it, that's where you're going to see the biggest quality of life improvement in this version. So I think overall, I think this version is a nice step up, but there are some small aspects that are a step down. As far as final thoughts on Hey That's My Fish, I really like this game. I think Hey That's My Fish is a very solid game. I had it in my collection for a long time, for years and years and years, before I eventually got rid of it because other games did replace it for me. This is a tactical strategy game that is mean, it is brutal, it's simple to play. The biggest con is that ratio of downtime to setup time to game time, as well as the fact that I think over time other games have taken this system and done more with it to the point that I ended up choosing those other games. This particular version of Hey That's My Fish I was excited for. I wanted to see if it reinvigorated where I feel and where I am with this game. And it did. It reminded me of all the things I like about Hey That's My Fish, but I still do think that other game systems have come along over the years and added other games that for me might be a slightly better fit. So for me, once upon a time, this was an easy 4 to 5. In relation to how the industry has continuously progressed, I think today's rating for this one is a 3.5 out of 5. I like Hey That's My Fish a lot. I think this is a better version of the game. I just think over time I've seen a lot of systems that do similar things with a little bit more going on in them. So great game, easy recommendation, but also, speaking of recommendations, if you're looking for 2 other games that do what Hey That's My Fish does, but at least for me, they do them slightly better, although they may or may not for you, there's Terra Nova, which is a fantastic game that involves same kind of puzzle, also a game I recommend at 2 players and not 3 and 4, but Terra Nova is going to have a similar little puzzle of trying to navigate and cut off areas of a board in order that you get the most points from it. And then Ragnarok is my most recent implementation in that line of games. Ragnarok is going to be coming to you from Grey Fox Games, and it gives you asymmetric powers every single game that keeps the game constantly refreshed. So you have that core puzzle of trying to control a board, control a map, move your people in a straight line, build various walls, and just try to dominate the region, but it does so with variable powers every single game, and so it does a drop more for me. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.